Well, it's yeah, back in let me think now, '96. Yeah, they were the thing to have. They were the fastest bike on the circuit at the time, and yeah, I was fortunate enough to be engaged to build them first time up for Peter and Suzuki, and yeah, away we went. But it was all kit parts, and it was yeah, quite a task and a job, but it was very much a pleasure, and it was good to see them win so convincingly on the circuit. Back then, I think the first ones we built might have been low to mid 150 horsepower at the rear wheel, and I think by the end we had them tuned up to just over 160 horsepower. You know, the Ducati and such like had us covered for a bit of torque, but these old, or old now, but at the time quite new 750s had an amazing amount of torque in the engine for a 750 category. So, but their handling was so good as well. So, but we had the speed on the Ducati down the straight, and that's where we were able to win the championship with them. Oh, look, it was fairly open. There was not a lot of restriction at all. We just basically built them with kit parts and fine-tuned them from there. There was a kit head you could buy, and there was a kit crankshaft, valves, valve springs. So it was pretty much just join all the dots together, and you had yourself a good engine. But to have one a little bit better than the average, that's when you had to just finally tune it and finally put it together. But Suzuki kit parts, that's right. Yes, they manufactured their and developed their own racing kit parts from the race department in within Suzuki, and yeah, they were obviously really good parts. Since then, Yoshimura have taken over development of those parts, and once again they make fantastic kit parts as well. But yeah, the factory, they put a lot of time and a lot of work into in the development of those engines, and for that reason we not only had a fast engine but a very reliable engine as well. Handling was all Öhlins suspension, which is an ever-changing world. It's okay to put all the race parts in the engine, but the suspension continually changes, and we went through possibly in the era we had them probably 3 or 4 generations of front forks, and about the same in rear shocks. We had all different links. You could change links, you could modify swing arms, modify chassis. We strengthened and put ribs in places and just kept playing and fiddling with them. And of course the feedback from Peter Goddard was exceptional, of course. So I was fortunate enough to work with a good rider in Peter and have great feedback. So every modification we made, we were able to transform that into speed for the rider. Well, really it's just an evolution of the GSXR original 96 750. They started with that, with the T model, and worked their way through to this current one. But essentially it is still just a 750. They're a lot faster. I think fully developed, they were, like I mentioned, we're doing the 150 to 160 horsepower. One off the shelf now with just a pipe on it would probably pull up at 135 horsepower out of the showroom floor with a bit of tuning. I did one recently and just wanted to see how close we were with a few modifications to back in the 96 of 160 horsepower, and all I did was put a power commander on it, a set of pipes, ported the head, some camshafts in it, at very minimal cost really, and that pulled up at the same horsepower as the 96 fully developed factory racer. It's amazing. Yeah, the 750 is a great size bike, and I always say to customers that come to work that if they're looking for a track day bike and a bit of a weekend bike, the 750 is the best. The 1000 is the fastest, obviously, but it can get quite daunting unless you're a Wayne Maxwell, a Sean Giles, or a Peter Goddard rider. So the 750, I believe, is probably the best size. Over the time, they've evolved in a lot of areas. Power, handling, and weight and size. They continually tried to get the 750 the size of a 600, and they eventually got there. I think when you overshadow the 750 over the 600, I don't think there's very much difference now. Oh look, I've got a lot of faith in Wayne Maxwell. I think he's obviously the best in Australia and has been in 2013. But Glenn Allison, he was right there at the start of the year. It was a good season for us, and he threw the challenge out without a doubt. And after the first couple of rounds, I was a little concerned. But Wayne was getting used to a new bike and a new team. And once he did that, he was off. So yeah, I rate my chances fairly high at this point of time. I think Wayne, as I say, is the best rider in Australia, and I think he can continue that form into next year without a problem.